Hi guys, welcome back, and this time around I'm bringing you the Heartfield CU8 reference. This is an all BA IEM from Heartfield, 4 BAs this time around. I've previously tried another Heartfield IEM, which is the Mont Blanc, which is 5 BAs, and that's in a resin shell. Nice sounding all BA IEM with a tuning which is more, let's say, the usual tuning that we find in all BA IEMs, and by that I mean what? It's a tuning that was used a couple of years ago, so it's kind of got like an EPZ 520, EPZ 630 type of tuning, kind of very neutralish across the whole frequency range. As for the CU8, they've gone the Harman route. Okay, this is the box, as simple as can possibly be. A couple of details here in the back, impedance, 17 ohms, and frequency response, so on, but very simple, really nothing to be said. Inside, one set of tips. It brings this case, okay, simple, and then the IEM itself. Cable, it's fine, I can't really complain. 4.4 termination. I wished it would have had a slightly nicer cable, especially considering this is $269 if memory doesn't serve me wrong. I got this IEM from Linsoul, to which I obviously thank them for. As for the IEM, this is jewelry, period. Very nice weight to it. It looks the business, it looks the part. It's got this most gorgeous of faceplates. Excuse my fingers there. It's got this most gorgeous of faceplates. Honestly, the video doesn't make it justice. I'm not using the stock tips. The stock tips are a little bit too soft, and because of the weight of the IEM, they actually break seal quite easily, and that breaking seal hinders then one aspect of the performance of the IEM, which is actually the base. As for this, the shell, beautiful metal shell. Like I said, looks the business. I think if I throw this at someone, I'll kill them. That's how heavy they are. And that weight works for and against the IEM, in my opinion. It works for the IEM by conferring it a very high degree of neutrality in terms of any resonances that may occur internally, but it does make the fact that it's this heavy be a little bit of an issue with the stock tips, and also this cable doesn't really help. I did have a bit of a hard time finding another cable to actually would fit here because of the termination. It's a 2-pin, but the depth of the termination, it's a little bit awkward, so some of the 2-pin cables that I had were not fitting properly, and I ended up just, sticking with the stock cable, and that's it. As I was saying, build quality, top marks, nothing to be said there. Looks like $1,000,000, honestly. The only problem here is the weight of the IEM, which will dictate then that you choose tips that will really get inside of your ear canal and help secure and help give it the necessary security to the fit that you require. Okay, so that's the IEM here. What did I bring out to kind of position the CU8? And this is not by any means an attempt to see who's the best, who's the worst, because every single one of these IEMs here has got their own little flavor. C Audio Bravery, HISENIOR T4. This is a custom shell that I asked for, blue and red. This is the oldie but goldie AudioSense DT300, and this here is the Softiers Studio 4. Every single one of them also at a price point, with the exception of the AudioSense, which is very similar. The Bravery was like $279. The HISENIOR, the T4, is about $200. The Studio 4, $360 something, and the AudioSense about $159, $160. So they kind of all have more or less the same price point. Obviously, the most expensive here is the AudioSense. The cheapest is the AudioSense, is the Softiers, my apologies. The cheapest is the AudioSense, and the CU8 here positions itself more in this price point here of the Bravery. As for the tuning styles, as I mentioned, this has got like a Harman style of tuning. The same goes for the DT300, and the same goes for the Studio, while the HISENIOR and the Bravery use a Noli VX type of tuning. Okay, so it's not going to be correct to say one is better, one is worse. It's what is your style, or what is your preference. Some of these IEMs, which is the case, for example, of the DT300, are very surprising in the way that they are actually tuned Harman, but are very surprising by how they actually never really, I never really found the DT300 to be lean sounding in the mid bass. If anything, I actually found it to be missing some information there, but not leanness, which is something that on the case of the CU8, I did find it to sometimes be a little bit lean on the mid bass. And it's a pity, because I think had they tuned the mids, upper mids and treble just ever so slightly lower, or then maybe if I had a switch here for like a 3 dB boost or a 2 dB boost, something along the lines of the SA6 or something of that sort, or even like the you know, on the HISENIOR, I think that this thing could have absolutely killed this price point in terms of an all BA IM. The Bravery, I mean, enough has been said about it, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. It's got this highly detailed sound, mids, upper mids and treble. This is really, it's like a mini Anoli VX. This is the best, it's the best analogy I can make. Absolutely phenomenal. HISENIOR T4, because of the switches, it enables you to have very much that Anoli VX sound, or then like I have it tuned here with the bass boosted, have a really nice mid bass going for it. And it's the HISENIOR T4, I think, is one of those all BA IMs that has really gone very much under the radar, and people haven't given it its deserved attention if an all BA IM is what you want. Software Studio 4, it's a well, some say it's better than the RSV. I don't think it's better than the RSV. I think that it's got its place, and considering that it costs what it costs, yes, it's better in that aspect. It's a neutral type of Harman presentation, while then these two, the AudioSense and the Heartfield CU8, are, let's say, boosted versions of the Harman tuning. Let's get into it. Sound, bass, it's clean, it's detailed, it's there, but it's the mid-bass slam that ultimately leaves you wanting just a little bit more energy. It's that area there between, I would say, 103, 150 hertz, required just a little extra energy to then make up for the pinna gain, which is, we're talking about a pinna gain of roughly 10, almost 11 dBs. And although you have quite a bit of bass information, that bass information is below 50 hertz. So from 50 to 200, when it's basically really flat, there's a little bit of an area there of the performance of the CU8 that is just missing that little extra meat that, you know, when you listen to something like the AudioSense, like as I was mentioning, it's interesting because when I show you the graphs, you'll see that they graph very similar. But because I'm guessing the way that the energy of the upper mids and treble were done on one and the other has been slightly different, the AudioSense does seem to have a little bit more mid-bass presence, although sometimes it also does sound a little bit thin, I won't deny it. As for the Studio 4, I mean, it's all about neutrality. It's all about correctness of sound. So without doubt, it's probably the most correct sounding out of all the IMs. Yeah, that's without a question. But that brings its pluses and minuses. Obviously, if you're looking for the ultimate in correctness, then probably the Studio 4 is the one to go for. If you're looking for a more engaging, more entertaining sound that will get you going, then definitely the HISENIOR, the T4, is probably the wisest or the better option to go for. As for the T4 and for the Bravery, like I mentioned, they both have that Anoli VX sound, which in terms of bass does make them a little bit more entertaining than here the CU8, especially the T4. But then in terms of the mids, upper mids and treble, I would say they are very much matched. What might give you the tendency of thinking that this is a little bit maybe overemphasized or over energetic is the fact that it lacks that mid bass slam that you get here on the T4. Mids on the CU8, as I was talking about, they clean, they detailed. It peaks at around 2.8 kilohertz, the pinna gain, and then it kind of basically plateaus itself across until about 8, where it starts dropping off. So it's got loads of energy in that part of the spectrum. I would say that if you choose your tip carefully, so to make sure that you have a correct seal, which is something that is very important, and you choose your source carefully, and by that I would say a warmer sounding source, you won't really find that part of the spectrum to be overly energetic, and will kind of be able to get itself balanced out with the rest of the frequency range that's coming from behind. At lower volumes, you don't notice that disparity so much. But at the moment you start reaching the mid to upper volume levels, yes, you then start noticing that what tip you are choosing or how it fits in your ear and what source you are choosing will dictate how the CU8 will sound. And again, it's like I said, I think it's something so simple that it's a pity that the CU8 engineers, or the Heartfield engineers, sorry, didn't actually think about just adding that little boost switch for the bass. Or then if they didn't want to go all the trouble and the extra complexity of the circuit and more cost, just lower the energy of the mids ever so slightly, the mids, upper mids, and treble. Because by lowering it 2 dBs, I think it would have been enough. You wouldn't have lost any of the magic that the IM has in terms of its openness of sound, and I think it, like I said already, it would have made it an absolute winner, definitely. It would have been, I would even go as far as saying that it probably would have been even a more successful IM than what the Bravery was, because the Bravery, what made the Bravery so impressive was that it had this spectacular mids, upper mids, and treble, but then coupled with this very satisfying bass, which was something that you just, I guess, weren't expecting, and that's what kind of made the Bravery so special. So it had this very nice mid bass slam, and when I show you the graphs in the middle in a second, you'll understand what I'm talking about. In terms of its technical prowess, I mean, the CU8 is up there. I mean, it's got loads of detail retrieval, all of the twinklies and sparklies you can imagine, a great big soundstage, imaging perfect. I would even say that this IM, in terms of gaming, will probably be an excellent IM for gaming. Probably be a very, very good IM for gaming because of the soundstage and the imaging that it has. Spectacular micro and macro details, phenomenal as well. I would say that those are the better technical capabilities of this IM. Timbre and tonality, because of that little thinness of the mid bass, I'm not gonna say it's as correct as I would like, or as correct as some of these other IMs are. I would say that, for example, in that aspect, even with all its neutrality, the Studio 4 is a better IM in terms of timbre and tonality. The T4 from HISENIOR is all the same situation. So there you have it, guys. The Heartfield CU8. It's a beautifully built IM. I mean, really, nothing that I can point there as a negative. It's an IM that joins an IM that was launched recently, which was the Luna. Which I was surprised. I was not expecting the Luna to have been such an impressive IM. Honestly, I just wasn't. It's like I said in my review of it. It's basically a baby 7 Hz supernova. 7 acoustic, sorry, supernova, and this joins that IM. Of the two, obviously, the Luna is the better IEM. It's not that much more expensive. I'm not gonna stand here and say that, no. But if a Harman tune is what you are looking for, and one that is, you know, reasonably well done. I mean, and if you're a guy or a girl that doesn't mind EQing, you can always fix this little issue of that thinness of the mid bass by just EQing it a little bit with some mid bass and choosing the nice, you know, a nice warmer source. You'll definitely get some very entertaining and very satisfying performance here from the CU8. It's an IEM. I would say that the CU8 is an IEM that if you have it sitting in your ear properly, nicely sealed with the right source, and you choose the right songs for it, it will impress. It will definitely impress. You will definitely be thinking to yourself, wow, I wasn't expecting this from just 4 BAs. It really will impress. And that's basically it, guys. All right, I'll show you now quickly the graphs and we'll wrap it up. Okay, guys, so let's talk now graphs here for the CU8, and let me start here with the graph of the CU8. As you can see, it's got loads of energy in the mids, upper mids, and treble. The bass, it's basically flat by 200 Hz, like I said, and it's this area here that's lacking just a little bit of extra energy to just convey it the necessary, let's say, engagement that it needs. This graph that I've now placed is the Studio 4, and it's again a Harman tune, but I guess a kind of a very or much more neutral type of Harman tune, and that's very much felt in the sound. The sound is it's more balanced out. It actually, you don't feel any lack of anything across the board because of the way that they've balanced out bass, mid bass, and then the way that the upper mids, upper mids, and treble are done. The other IM, which has again that same style of tuning, is the AudioSense, the DT. Let me actually just change the color here to blue, the DT300, an IM that very much went under the radar. all the time, in my opinion. And it's interesting to see how it shares the same sort of bass, but then the way, then again, truth be told, it's only 3 BAs, not 4. That's the only IEM here that actually has got 1 BA less. But the way that they've done the top end here, it's still very detailed, still very bright, but it just balances itself out ever so slightly better than the CU8 in more occasions than I was expecting, to be honest with you. Ultimately, both of them are very detailed up top. The DT300 might sound, at the end of the day, just a little bit more fake, okay, a little bit more colored. The CU8 more realistic in that aspect, but on the other hand, that extra coloredness that the DT300 has, it makes up for it by having this part of the spectrum here sounding a little bit more warmer. And I guess that the main reason for that is the DT300 has a resin shell, the other one has a metal shell. So again, you have that issue of the shell material affecting how the sound will be. As for and those three are basically, so the CU8, the DT300 and the Soft-Ears volume, the Soft-Ears Studio 4 are the three that had that Harman style of tune. Then we have the case of the HISENIOR and of the Bravery. So this is the Bravery and this is the HISENIOR. They have that more Anole VX type of sound. Very, I mean, this almost, let's start here with the Bravery. Very, very flattish and neutralish across here, the whole range. That 5K area reduced here on the Bravery, so no shouting, no sibilance, nice mid-bass impact. So when compared here, for example, with the CU8, you can see it's got that little extra mid-bass energy here that's missing, and it also is a little bit lower here, so the balance that is struck is very nice. And then the HISENIOR, the T4, with the bass switch on. With the bass switch off, it basically drops to the level here of the Bravery. Actually, sorry, let me put the, not the Bravery, but let me put the CU8. So it's got that mid bass that's missing there on the CU8, and when you drop off that extra boost of the bass, it comes down. It's the same curve, just comes down 2-3 dBs. So it still maintains itself a little bit more energetic. But it's this mid bass here that actually is the fun and engaging part. You can get away in a BA by having this boost, and still not having it sound muddy or mess up the mid-range or vocals or anything of the sort. And that's exactly what happens with the HISENIOR. The T4 is a really, really impressive IM. Two different tuning styles, they complement each other. It's not one is better than the other. They both complement each other, and they both are IMs that make sense. And that's the whole, at the end of the day, that's what I was trying to convey here. The CU8 isn't, I don't want for you guys to get the idea that the CU8 is better or worse than the other IMs here. It's a Harman style tuned IM. It has its pluses and its negatives. Compared to similarly tuned Harman IMs, I would say that its brightness has its place at lower volumes. At higher volumes, it loses out to something like the Studio 4. Compared to the DT300, the DT300 and the CU8 are very, very similar. They just kind of trade blows. As compared with the let's say Anole VX style of tuning of the Bravery and of the HISENIOR, the CU8 loses out in the mid bass performance basically. In the mids, upper mids and treble, they kind of are very similar to each other. If I'm looking at just to all three, all three are very similar, and if I'm just looking at the mids, they are all very competent. The one that will sound obviously just a little bit thin is the CU8 because of that lack of energy that comes from behind. So it's not really fair to be saying that one is better or worse. It's because they've all been tuned in slightly different or with slightly different objectives in mind. So again, they are complements to each other. All right, guys, hope I was able to shed some light here on the CU8. Nice IM from Heartfield. If you have the opportunity to listen to it, have a go, and I'm sure you won't be disappointed. All right, you take care now. Bye-bye.